Welcome to episode 25 of Mina Narrates. I'm your host, Mina. Thanks for joining me in my library. This episode features RandoCalrissian's The Diner. Now, let me whisper in your ears. The cool midnight breeze rushed through the streets and flooded through every alleyway. The street lamps that stood in every corner of each block illuminated each piece of its particular sidewalk. A man dressed in an all-black business suit walked through the dimly lit cold streets of Chicago. The man's dark red tie slightly swayed with each step that he took. The man had a constant smirk on his face, as if something constantly amused him. The smirk could have easily belonged to a serial killer still stalking their prey. A dark, unsettling aura encompassed the man, like a dark, thick cloud blocking out the burning stars in the night sky. However, the man was not walking to soak in the midnight air, or to look at the beautiful lights that lit up the city. His destination was a little diner on a small street block.
This is the place,
he thought to himself as he entered. The diner was almost completely empty, with the exception of one waitress and a young man roughly in his late 20s or early 30s, who sat in the third booth in the diner. The man in black approached the man sitting in the booth, his quiet smirk turning into an unnaturally wide smile. He sat down across from him and stared at him. The man had a hot cup of coffee and a bowl of what seemed to be sauerkraut sitting in front of him. "May I get you anything, sir?" the waitress asked as she approached the man in black.
No, thank you. I won't be staying long,
the man politely replied. Although the man's voice was polite, it was also unsettling. Although his voice was somewhat soothing, it was also sinister and sadistic.
How are you, old friend?
The man in black continued as he turned to the man he had sat across from.
You look unwell,
the man said as his long, bony fingers caressed his chin. Although the man physically looked healthy, there were parts of him, like his hands, that looked old and emaciated. "What do you want, serpent?" the man across from him asked as he took a bite of sauerkraut. The man in black began to chuckle.
Resorting to name-calling, are we?
"Mockery begets mockery," the man across the table said. The man took a sip of his coffee and then sat back in his chair waiting for the man in black's response. The man in black let out a low growl.
Indeed,
he responded, resting one arm on the wooden table. "So are you going to offer me the same thing that he always offers me?" the man across the table asked. The man in black began to laugh, his dark yellow teeth protruding from his lips with every chuckle.
Heavens no,
the man in black said as he started to calm down.
I believe you pathetic humans are worth no more than the rat feces that poison the very ground,
the man proclaimed. "Then why come here? Why waste my time?" the man across the table asked. Taking another bite of sauerkraut, the man in black began to slightly purr.
Because you intrigue me,
the man smiled, his dark yellow teeth once again protruding from his lips. "How so?" the man across the table asked.
You're the man who cannot die, which means lifetimes full of mistakes and regrets,
the man in black purred. "I'm failing to see your point," the man across the table said, sounding agitated.
I did not come here to give you a chance to rest, nor did I come here as some sort of forgiveness vessel for your sins. No, I came here with an opportunity.
The man in black said, ending with a smile and a chuckle. "And what might that be?" the man across the table asked.
Tell me, what do you go by these days?
The man in black asked with curiosity filling his eyes. "Arthur," he spat. The man in black began to chuckle and then he purred.
Wouldn't you like it to just be Arthur?
The man in black asked with one corner of his lips extending to his right eye. "You're offering me the chance to forget? Arthur asked, tilting his head slightly sideways with one eyebrow raised.
I'm offering you the chance to start over.
The man in black said. Arthur exhaled, slightly raising his head up in the air. And what Beelzebub must I give in return? Arthur asked condescendingly.
Your soul is filled with anguish, regret, rage, sorrow, and shame.
The devil said, slightly sniffing the air around him. Again, he began to purr.
It's like adding salt to freshly cooked meat. Delicious.
He said, licking his lips.
Give me your delicious, tender, blood-soaked soul, and I will give you a new beginning. A new beginning you long for.
The devil gently whispered, resting his hand atop Arthur's. Arthur immediately pulled away his hand. Go fuck yourself, Arthur said calmly. I will not forget who I am at the expense of my soul. The devil began to laugh.
Have you forgotten?
Forgotten what, serpent? Arthur inquired.
If you are so helplessly and pathetically confused, I'll show you.
The devil said. Then suddenly the world went black. A spotlight shined upon Arthur. What is this? He asked, demanding an answer.
Memories.
The devil's voice spilled from the darkness.
Sweet, succulent, delicious memories.
The devil began to laugh.
Do you remember Robert O'Neill?
The most infamous contract killer of the 1960s, Arthur proclaimed. Responsible for the murders of 2 kids under the age of 6, 3 pregnant women, and most notably the assassination of JFK, Arthur breathed heavily.
Yes. He was a disgusting human being, wasn't he? But he had his reasons, as all you humans do.
The devil said, walking up next to Arthur and crossing his arms. The blackness faded, and they were standing outside of a rundown home. Robert O'Neill was inside it. It was Christmas Eve. Why are you showing me this? Arthur asked abruptly. The devil put his fingers over his lips. Shh, he softly uttered. There was a little girl inside. Robert pulled out a loaf of bread and a doll for his daughter. His daughter smiled and hugged her father.
Not even a child's laughter could have stopped you from what you're about to do.
The devil snarled.
You and your government's perception of evil declared that he needed to die.
He was a murderer, Arthur proclaimed. The child was taken care of. She was taken to a foster facility.
Yes,
the devil said mockingly.
But unfortunately, what she's about to see would cause her to commit suicide at the age of 15.
The devil said. Once again, a smirk was growing on his face.
Bang!
The devil said, as a .50 caliber bullet from a sniper rifle ripped apart Robert's head. The young girl screamed as blood and gray matter covered her face and soaked into her clothes. The young girl begged and pleaded for her father to get up and stop playing dead. The young girl's cries slowly faded out. The devil looked to Arthur. Arthur's face was like stone as he still stared at the fading image.
Have you anything to say in all this?
The devil inquired. I've always done what needs to be done, Arthur replied, without regards to my personal feelings. The devil scoffed.
And yet you call me the monster?
Arthur looked over to the devil. The smirk on the left side of his face reached all the way up to his eye.
Perhaps we should dive deeper,
the devil insisted.
After all, the man was not innocent. True, he may have been surrounded by innocent people, but that hardly makes up for what he did.
He let out a laugh. It was dark and demonic. The black world they were surrounded in began to morph. The dark black space immediately became 13th century France.
Do you know where we are?
The devil asked condescendingly. France, Arthur answered. 1348. The Black Plague had just been introduced to the people a year prior. He continued. His eyes wandered through the dirt street filled with bodies.
Good. You remember.
The devil remarked gleefully. I couldn't forget my time here was significant. After Arthur said this, the devil began to laugh.
Significant? In these times you acted as a plague doctor. You couldn't be infected, nor could the plague harm you. But you could carry it.
The devil shouted.
You carried death and sickness with you. Wherever you walked, death followed. You were pestilence.
I was trying to help these people, Arthur yelled back.
And yet somehow, you made things worse.
The devil yelled. Soon after, the devil began to smile.
You took mothers away from their daughters, fathers away from their sons.
The devil began to laugh maniacally.
Children, cold, screaming for their mothers, their fathers, as the black blisters began to form on their skin.
The devil started to prance around Arthur. Arthur crunched his fist and slightly tilted his head. A tear began to stream down it. It was never my intention. I was trying to help people, Arthur said, looking back up, his eyes red from the tears.
A wolf, dressed in sheep's clothing. That's what you were to these people.
No, Arthur proclaimed. There were people that I saved. People that were healthy because of me. The bubonic plague wiped out half of Europe. I will not bear the blame for that, Arthur said as he turned around to stare the devil directly in the face.
All you had to do was keep your distance, and maybe some of those children might have lived to see another day,
the devil said, walking closer to Arthur. Arthur walked up as well to meet the devil. They were now face to face. Through his teeth, Arthur grunted, I will not be to blame.
Then let's try something else, shall we?
The world morphed yet again. This time, the world morphed into a cold, concrete cell. Arthur looked around. To every corner of the cell, he recognized it. The SCP Foundation, Arthur said while examining the walls.
Yes, their time in existence was amusing,
the devil said with a smirk and a purr. Arthur turned around to see the devil standing behind him. Why did you bring me here? I had nothing to do with her existence. He yelled in frustration, demanding an answer.
No, but for a brief period, you were a part of it,
the devil said, slowly walking over to Arthur. His yellow teeth once again protruding from his lips, but now in the form of rotten fangs.
And you created one of the most deadly and dangerous SCPs. You know of whom I speak.
Arthur began to breathe heavy. He shook his head in disbelief, in denial. He felt a strong wind hit his back, and when he turned around, he saw a grave compiled of dirt and rocks. No, Arthur yelled. No, no, no! He fell on his hands and knees, again hitting a cold cement ground. He could smell a foul odor in the air. It smelled of death and disease. He looked up to see every Euclid, every Keter-class SCP standing before him. He saw Robert O'Neill and his daughter. He saw every serial killer, every murderer, every liar, and every thief. All of them rotting away, with their bones and muscles and organs exposed. He could see their hearts pumping the blood through their veins. The devil knelt down and brushed his lips against Arthur's ear.
Did you ever consider that all of this is your fault?
He said in a hushed, mocking whisper.
Your existence creates these animals. Their desire. Their hunger. All because of what you did.
The devil said with a purr. The devil stood back up and stood in front of Arthur. Every single being that stood before Arthur mimicked the very words of the devil. In tens of millions of voices, he heard,
If you give me your soul, all of this will be forgotten. All of this will be gone. All of this will be nothing more than a fading nightmare.
Arthur stood back up and stared the devil in the face. Fine. You want it? Then take it, Arthur yelled with a voice like thunder. Take it all! He yelled again with his arms stretched out wide. Just then his soul, his spirit, all his memories, all his regrets began to leave his body. The devil reveled in it, but only for a short while. As the devil was devouring his soul, he opened his eyes. They grew wide with fear. The devil began to scream and cough. Blood poured from his eyes and from his mouth. The devil fell on his hands and knees in agonizing pain.
Take it back!
The devil spat. His thick, dark red blood splattered on Arthur's face. I warned you, Arthur said, gritting his teeth at the devil. Not even you can bear my burden. Arthur grabbed him by the arm, and immediately both of them were sat back in their seats in the diner.
It will be mine,
the devil said as his fangs protruded from his lips, blood leaking through each tooth. Stubborn son of a bitch, aren't you? Arthur asked mockingly. Daniela, please show this fine gentleman to the door, Arthur said, still staring at the devil. Certainly, Mr. Collins, the waitress said, walking over to him. She grabbed the devil by the arm, and in a calm, beautiful tone she said, I believe Mr. Collins wishes to close soon. Would you be so kind to follow me? The devil began to smirk and said to Arthur,
Do you believe that making your whore put her hand on me is your best option?
Daniela grabbed his arm even tighter. The devil looked up at her. Her pupils were shaped like diamonds. It was an order, not a request. Her words spoke in his mind. The devil began to laugh.
I never thought that you, of all people, would stay in the company of witches.
Arthur chuckled. I hate to disappoint you. However, she's a banshee, not a witch, Arthur said, curling his lips to a smile.
The Wailing Woman,
the devil said, slowly looking up at her again. So the legends say, but we know better, don't we? And seeing that we just cleaned the floor, I'd rather not have her make a mess. The devil quickly reached his hand out to the side with the top hat instantly forming in his hand. He placed it upon his head. With a smirk and a wink, he said,
Soon, I will be back. My children will be with me, and you will reconsider my offer.
The devil got up from his chair and walked out of the diner. Daniela made sure he was gone. She walked back over to Arthur and said, Who was that? No one of consequence, Arthur replied, getting up out of his chair and putting on a black leather jacket that was hanging on a bar stool. What did he want? All I know is you two sat in silence for 15 seconds. Then you came out of your trance and he starts making threats, she said, walking over to Arthur and laying one hand on his shoulder. It's fine, really. He mistook me for someone else, Arthur said, kissing her on the forehead. Who did he mistake you for? She asked as he began to walk away. He stopped. He remained paused for a brief moment and then turned and looked at her and replied, An anomaly. Thank you for listening to The Diner by RandoCalrissian and making it to the end of the story. My thanks to him as well for voicing the devil with sound effects. This story was written after we talked about permissions for me to do his Anomaly series, so he wrote this for me, which is a prequel of the Anomaly series, I believe. I will be doing that series after the new year. While he is a major Star Wars fan, he does write amazing sci-fi horror. Most of his stories, like this one, are written within the Anomaly universe. If you want to read more, follow the link to his Reddit in the description. Rando is an amazing writer. He is also very gracious and down-to-earth for a Star Wars fan. I believe I can call him one of my few purely writer friends in the community. Though if he wanted to voice act or narrate, he certainly has the voice and the skill for it. which is why I was thrilled when he asked if he could voice the devil. There was no doubt in my mind that he could do so. When I got his audio, I have to say I was amazed. I got chills listening to it. He truly has a talent there as well. I'm honored to have him give permission to narrate this story and also voice the villain in it. And well, let him tell you himself.
Hey everyone, this is RandoCalrissian here, the author of The Diner. I hope you all enjoyed the story, and I hope you all enjoyed me voicing the devil. Thank you so much to everyone who took the time out of their day to listen to this, and thank you so much to me and Mina for narrating the story. She did a phenomenal job, and I can't wait to work with her more in the future. Again, thank you so much, and I hope everyone has a wonderful Christmas. As always, God bless, and may the Force be with you.
So there you have a little hint at what's coming with the Anomaly series. There's also a link to the series done by As the Raven Dreams in the description below. Let me know what you think in the comments. While you're down there, please give the video a like and share it out. If you aren't subscribed, consider subscribing and ringing the bell so it rings, so you don't miss the next video. I want to say thank you to all of you who have subscribed. I appreciate your faith in me and enjoyment of my content. I love and appreciate all of you. Thank you to everyone who has been so welcoming, supportive, and helpful. Until we meet again, have a wonderful day or night, and be safe.